Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the T.H.O. Movie Reviews Podcast, the show where we bring you passionate, honest, and insightful film criticism. I'm your host, Bennett Campbell Ferguson. I'm joined today by my wonderful colleagues Maxwell Meyers and Mo Shaunette, and today we are taking a question from one of our listeners, Sarah Michelle Jagger, and that question is, would you consider Citizen Kane to be the best film of all time, in your opinion? Take it away, Mo.
Well, I haven't seen every movie ever made, so I don't think I can really answer this fully, but I don't know if I would. I think a lot of the credits is that Citizen Kane did a lot of things with cinematography extremely well, and was the first to do these things, and that's sort of like, it was the one that planted the flag, and it was the one who set up all these ideas that are so used today. And it is a great movie. It's a great blend of a biopic and a murder mystery.
Yeah.
And it's well acted. It's extremely well shot. But I can think of movies that I liked better. Best is hard to nail down because you haven't seen everything, but also a lot of it, what is good or bad in movies, what comes down to just personal taste.
Right.
Of the greatest movies ever made that I've seen in various film classes, I liked The Godfather better than Citizen Kane. I liked The Gold Rush better than Citizen Kane. Granted, again, personal taste. I'm more interested in seeing gangster melodrama or Charlie Chaplin being funny than this life of this William Randolph Hearst person.
Right.
But again, it's all preferences. So I don't know.
Max?
No. I'll say it.
Alright.
I don't think Citizen Kane is the best movie ever made. And just like Mo said, it comes down to personal preference entirely. But also, I think AFI, every 10 years, they take a poll on what the greatest movie ever made was. And the last I heard, it went to Vertigo. It changed from Citizen Kane to Vertigo. And funnily enough, that year that they announced that, I didn't realize it. I watched Vertigo for the first time. I didn't really care for it. Out of Hitchcock's films, I even think it wouldn't even be his strongest film. So the fact that that was the best film ever made, quote unquote, is a little silly. Every 10 years it's going to change. It has everything to do with taste. And yeah, so I would go, I love a movie that just makes me feel, and not that it doesn't, but I feel like there's just certain things that bring out an emotion in me that I don't expect. Those are my favorite movies, especially ones that make me cry or just kind of give me a left hook of emotion that I just don't see coming. That's wonderful. And so yeah, I'm gonna go no. Citizen Kane is not the best movie ever made, but it's definitely a really good movie. Really good movie. So yeah, that's what I say.
Yeah, I love Citizen Kane. One of my favorite assignments is when I got to cut a trailer for it in a class, and I mean that was fun. Spending hours just choosing the right clips because there's some really striking images. It does have great cinematography, but the greatest film of all time, not in my opinion. I mean, yeah, it's great, but I mean, it does. You're right. It comes down to personal taste, and that's why, while I like organizations like AFI, and I'm always excited when they pick a movie that happens to be on my top 10 list for their top 10 list, and I go ooh, yay, But I mean, I don't. At the same time, I don't put much stock in these collective bodies making lists because I think it does come down to personal tastes and. When a collective body gets together, I mean, it gets kind of boring seeing them choose the same films over and over again. I agree. I think Vertigo's really overrated. I'm sick of seeing Vertigo on all these top 10 lists. And honestly, I mean, going back to the personal taste thing, as much as I love Citizen Kane, there are films that have spoken to me much more deeply. You talked about emotions. I mean, there are films that have moved me more. Even recent films. I will say that Mad Max to me was more moving than Citizen Kane, and that's just my opinion. Yeah, it is great. So I mean, not only do I not think Citizen Kane's the greatest film of all time, even though I think it's brilliant, but I kind of chafe at the notion of greatest of all time or best, because I think who can make that decision. I don't think that even exists. I think all we have are our objective personal opinions, and I think those are great. I think those are strong. I think those lists are the most interesting. And when we did our video about our favorite films of all time, one thing I liked about it the most is on every single list, there were unexpected choices. It wasn't these boring lists like the kind Roland Emmerich makes, where my favorite films of all time are Citizen Kane and A Night to Remember and everything on the National Film Registry. I mean, that's just give me a break,
And then me and Mo were the only ones that had one that overlapped, and that was Kill Bill.
Right,
that was really cool. That all our lists were entirely different.
Yeah. There were almost no overlaps. Except for Kill Bill and Empire Strikes Back.
I was like, that wasn't me.
I think that there also may be a generational thing.
Yeah.
Because I know this is true for me at least. When we did the top 10 list, almost all of mine were movies that came out during my lifetime.
Yeah.
I think the only one that didn't was The Producers. And so you kind of attach yourself to movies that came out during or around your lifetime. So all these old guard film critics saying that Citizen Kane is the greatest. Well, you got. I feel like you might find newer generations who are who are more attached to The Godfather or something like that came out in the new wave of Hollywood, or Empire or something like that. So maybe that plays a factor in it.
Mm-hmm. I think it absolutely plays a huge factor. I mean, if you look at the movies that IMDb users rank as the biggest films of all time. I mean, IMDb, there's a lot of problems with how they rank films. That's another story. But though, to go back to The Wolf of Wall Street, that's really high up there. For some reason that movie means a lot to this generation.
The Shawshank Redemption always at number 1 on that list?
Yeah.
It's the most well-reviewed movie by the users.
Yeah.
It's always at the top.
And that's, it just goes to show that, our generation is learning about movies and getting excited by movies in a different way than the older generation. And that's fine. I think that's healthy and natural that we're going to respond deeply to stuff created in the era we've lived through,
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Remember, if you like this podcast, please click thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at T.H.O Movie Reviews, and please be sure to check out all the new reviews of movies and great content we have at thomoviereviews.wordpress.com. Once again, I'm your host, Bennett Campbell Ferguson, and from all of us here at T.H.O Movie Reviews, happy movie watching.